Meghan Markle's interview has exposed the monarchy for what it is: shadowy, unaccountable, riddled with racism, and completely intolerant of anyone who they have deemed has crossed them. Ever since she's married into the royal family, she has received widespread vilification from the British media, including media outlets attacking her for doing the exact same things as the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate, has done. Being briefed against by the royal family, including false claims she made Kate cry when it was the other way round, of a senior royal questioning how dark the skin would be of her child, of not getting support when she was driven to the verge of suicide because of the atmosphere of racist hostility within the royal household. What does it say about an institution which drives a woman to the brink of suicide because of the colour of her skin, which pursues a relentless vendetta against her, whilst another royal, Prince Andrew, who had links with one of the most notorious paedophiles on the face of the earth, close links, he is protected, he is honoured, he remains tightly within the royal fold. An institution which hounds women of colour but protects close allies of paedophiles. Now, all accusations of bullying need to be taken very, very seriously. But what does it say about an institution that leaks allegations of bullying against Meghan in the run-up to an interview which is going to be very damaging to that institution, then launches an inquiry into them? Where is the inquiry into the very, very serious accusations of bullying and of failing to protect someone on the verge of suicide? We've seen this movie before, except this time extra helpings of racism have been thrown in. A quarter of a century, Princess Diana, the mother, of course, of Prince Harry, spoke out about the horrendous treatment she received at the hands of the royal family. 2 years later, deprived of security, she was chased to her death by paparazzi. Now, racist attitudes within the royal family are hardly a secret. Prince Philip once told British students in China, "You'll get slitty eyes if you stay too long," amongst many, many other racist statements. Princess Michael of Kent was forced to apologise after wearing a gratuitously racist brooch. With Prince Harry and Meghan saying it wasn't the Queen or Prince Philip who said these racist comments about their child, we can only speculate about who it was. There are much darker histories as well. According to the Telegraph, King Edward VIII and his wife Wallis Simpson were dutiful and patriotic to the end, unlike Meghan and Harry. Now, this abdicating king, who they are venerating, was a Nazi lover. His wife was a Nazi lover. The Nazis wanted to install this dutiful and patriotic couple as a puppet regime if they succeeded in invading Britain with their genocidal regime. Yet these Nazis are held up by right-wing newspapers as a way of contrast to shame a victim of racism. Now, the stories of Diana and Meghan should force us to ask some very, very serious and very far-reaching questions about an institution which is held up as the embodiment of the nation, but which in practice lives in the shadows without accountability and which exacts terrible vengeance on those who are seen to have crossed it. What a lack of faith and confidence we must have in ourselves to believe that those who should be our figureheads should not be selected by virtue of their talent or their ability or how effective they are at representing all of us, but by the privilege of their birth. This is at best a national soap opera with many, many dysfunctional plot lines, rather than an institution which can proudly say that it represents Britain in the 21st century. Imagine that instead we could cherish the achievements of our ancestors in fighting for our rights and our freedoms, sometimes at the cost of their own liberty, sometimes at the cost of their own lives, by enshrining our great struggles for democracy by having an elected figurehead who we choose, who is accountable to all of us and who can tell the world that this country is a genuine democracy where all citizens are treated as equal. Why can't we have a figurehead who, if they fail in their responsibilities to represent us, we at least have the ability to remove them? We can finally become citizens, not subjects. We'd be sovereign. But it's so revealing that monarchism is, for so many, about a lack of faith, of confidence in their own country. Take tourism. Often this is the go-to argument for many who say they support the royal family, not enthusiastically, but because they believe that the only reason that so many people from across the world come to these shores is because we have an unelected head of state. But what of the facts? Of the £127 billion a year that tourism brings into this country in normal times, it's claimed that 500 million, a derisory amount, comes because we have a monarchy. And even that figure is completely dishonest. They throw, for example, St. Paul's Cathedral into that to justify that claim. More people visit Chester Zoo than Windsor Castle or Buckingham Palace. There are so many millions of reasons why people come to this country and would still come to this country whether or not we have a monarchy. Do we really have such little confidence in ourselves that we believe our figurehead should be people randomly selected by birth of whom we know almost nothing, who are objectively unaccountable, profoundly secretive, who have exceptionally serious allegations against them, and who have mistreated now 2 women so abominably? This is a scandal that demands of us to take racism and mental health very seriously. But it's also a scandal which raises very serious questions about the way that this country's run. Sometimes traditions are injustices which have simply prevailed for too long. We could have the confidence in ourselves to choose those to serve us, who represent us as our figureheads, not on the basis of the family in which they are born, but on the basis of their ability and their talent. That we could tell the world that we are genuinely, finally, a proper, healthy democracy. After centuries of struggle and sacrifice by our ancestors to fight for a genuine democracy with rights and freedoms for us as citizens rather than subjects, what better way to honour that struggle and that sacrifice by finally abolishing the monarchy and having a head of state and their families who are accountable to us.